So this is a kind of funny and ridiculous game. I played against somebody where the moves were totally ridiculous, but it was just a funny game. So it's a novelty, and it's probably worth watching just for that. So C2, C4, uh, king pawn up only one. Challenges the center right away. So far we're still in book. Everything's fine. It's an unusual opening, but not too unusual. So here, attacks the center right away. Now this was a blunder on my part. I actually meant to push up the E pawn, and this is why the game sort of goes through this unorthodox sort of thing here. So the other guy goes for this pawn, which is hanging, and it leaves this potentially hanging. And my answer to that is to just take this pawn, which is what starts the game going down this unorthodox situation where there's a threat of this fork over here, winning the rook, the queen's hanging out over here, maybe there'll be some checks. So what happens next is moves the knight to the corner, which is usually a bad move, but here this bishop is stuck inside, and it protects the fork from occurring over here. So funny move here. I want to free up this this trap pawn, so I attack the queen in the center. So he's got to move his queen. Moves over there. The reason I like this move for me and think it's a blunder for him is I get to develop this piece and attack the queen at the same time, like a double benefit. So there we go. Queen moves. So now I'm looking at where the queen is, and I'm seeing this diagonal here. If I can get my bishop over here with some protection, I'm going to win the queen. So I'm trying to set this up. So takes the pawn with the idea that it's going to start coming in and win this pawn too. But then bam, queen pin. Takes another free pawn, takes the queen, takes back. The fork is now there, wins the rook. And most players at this point would quit, given that I've got my queen, both my rooks, and my knights are pretty centered. And given how disrupted the black king is, most people would quit. And it even shows me at this moment up 22.5 pawns, but then it's time to have some fun. Check, king walk, check, king walk. Let's see. Takes. So now we're occupying this whole seventh file. Takes again. It's always good to exchange when you're winning. Check. Then I want to develop the knight so I can castle. Interesting move here, attacks my queen, but again, there's so much to go after. So check, check. So interestingly, it was actually, that was the knight move was actually a blunder. It could have done pawn takes knight, but look how close his king is getting to me. Double question mark. And now it says mate in two, but I probably took a few moves. Check. Coming in, attacking, check, blocks, castle. And here I left my queen hanging accidentally, and maybe thought for an instant he was back in the game. But again, I'm still, even after giving back my queen for very little, I'm still up 12 pawns, according to the engine. So all these checks are flying through. Check. And I've still got the two rooks, and I'm up 9 pawns, even with all all of this mayhem. And keep in mind also, I'm doing some of this nonsense because he's got 13 seconds. So check. And we're getting very close to the end here. And that's me. Mate just before I would have potentially got back rank mated, possibly. So another Hodge production. Very good.